The helicopter. The morning air was cool and soft as Emma walked through the doors of Miller's coffee shop. It was 7:30 on a Tuesday, and the little cafe was already filling with the usual crowd. Construction workers grabbing something hot before heading to job sites, nurses finishing overnight shifts, and people like her, trying to squeeze in a moment of peace before the day truly began. Emma ordered her usual black coffee and a small hot chocolate for her daughter, Lily, who waited in the car. Money was tight these days. It had been tight for a long while now, ever since the divorce 2 years ago. But she always made sure Lily had something warm on cold mornings like this. As she waited for her order, Emma noticed a man standing near the counter. He was older, maybe in his 60s, with silver hair and a kind face. He wore a simple jacket and jeans, nothing that stood out. But something about the way he patted his pockets with growing concern caught her attention. The barista called out his order, a large coffee and a breakfast sandwich. "I'm so sorry," the man said, his voice quiet and embarrassed. "I thought I had my wallet. I must have left it in my car." The barista, a young woman with tired eyes, simply shrugged. "No problem. I'll just put these back." Emma didn't think. She just acted. "Wait," she said, stepping forward. "I'll cover it." The man turned to her, surprise clear on his face. "Oh, no. I couldn't ask you to do that." "You didn't ask," Emma said gently, handing her card to the barista. "It's okay, really." For a moment, the man just looked at her. Then he smiled, a warm and genuine smile that reached his eyes. "Thank you," he said. "That's very kind of you." "It's just coffee," Emma replied, though she knew it wasn't just coffee. Not for her budget, anyway, but some things mattered more than dollars and cents. The man took his order and thanked her again before leaving. Emma collected her drinks and headed back to her car, where Lily sat buckled in her booster seat, looking out the window at the morning sky. "Here you go, sweetheart," Emma said, handing her the hot chocolate. "Thanks, Mama," Lily said, wrapping her small hands around the warm cup. Emma started the car and drove toward Lily's school, her mind already moving through the day ahead, her shift at the hospital, the bills waiting on the kitchen table, the leak in the bathroom that she couldn't afford to fix yet. She didn't think about the man again. The next morning, Emma was in the kitchen making breakfast when she heard it, a deep, rhythmic thumping sound that grew louder and louder. At first, she thought it might be thunder, but the sky outside was clear and blue. Lily looked up from her cereal, her eyes wide. "Mama, what's that noise?" Emma walked to the window and pulled back the curtain. Her breath caught in her throat. A helicopter was descending into the field behind her house. "What in the world?" Emma whispered. The helicopter landed smoothly, its blades gradually slowing. Emma's heart pounded in her chest. She thought about calling the police, but something stopped her. This didn't feel dangerous. It felt deliberate. "Stay here," she told Lily, though her daughter had already abandoned her breakfast and was pressed against the window. Emma stepped outside onto the back porch, her arms crossed against the morning chill. The helicopter door opened and a man stepped out. It took her a moment to recognize him, the man from the coffee shop. He walked toward her house with steady, confident steps, and as he got closer, Emma noticed something different about him. He carried himself with a certain authority she hadn't seen the day before. Behind him, another person emerged from the helicopter, a younger man in a suit carrying a briefcase. "Good morning," the silver-haired man called out as he approached. "I apologize for the dramatic entrance. My name is Richard Walsh," Emma blinked. The name sounded vaguely familiar, but she couldn't place it. I'm Emma Crawford. We met at the coffee shop yesterday." "I know," Richard said, his smile kind. "You helped me when I needed it." "You didn't have to, but you did." Emma shook her head, confused. "It was just a cup of coffee." "It was more than that," Richard said. "Let me explain. I'm the CEO of Walsh Medical Technologies. Maybe you've heard of us." Emma's eyes widened. Walsh Medical Technologies was one of the largest medical supply companies in the country. Their equipment was in every hospital, including the one where she worked as a nurse. "Yesterday, I was having what you might call a very bad morning," Richard continued. "I'd just come from a difficult meeting. I was questioning a lot of things, about my company, about whether we'd lost sight of what really matters. I left my wallet in my car on purpose, actually. I wanted to see how people would react. I've been doing this in different places, trying to understand something I felt I'd lost touch with. He paused, his expression growing more serious. Most people walked past. Some laughed. A few made comments. But you didn't hesitate. You didn't know who I was. You saw someone who needed help, and you helped. Even though I could see from the way you counted your change that every dollar matters to you. Emma felt heat rise to her cheeks. She didn't know what to say. Richard gestured to the man with the briefcase, who stepped forward. I did some research. I hope you don't mind. I learned that you're a nurse at County General. Single mother. Working double shifts when you can. Your ex-husband doesn't pay his child support regularly. Emma's embarrassment shifted to something else, a prickle of defensiveness. I manage just fine. I'm sure you do, Richard said gently. But you shouldn't have to just manage. People like you, people who give even when it costs them something, those are the people who make the world work. And they're the people who should be supported, not struggling. The man in the suit opened his briefcase and pulled out an envelope. Richard took it and held it out to Emma. This is a check, he said. Enough to pay off your mortgage, your car, and your debts. Enough to give you breathing room. Emma stared at the envelope like it might burn her. I can't accept this. Why not? Because I didn't do anything to earn it. I just bought you coffee. Richard's expression softened. You showed kindness to a stranger. You gave when it cost you something. That's worth more than you know. Please, take it. Let someone help you for once. Emma's hands trembled as she reached for the envelope. Inside was a check with more zeros than she'd ever seen in her life. Tears spilled down her cheeks before she could stop them. There's something else, Richard said. Walsh Medical Technologies has a nursing scholarship program. We offer full scholarships for nurses who want to advance their education, become nurse practitioners, specialize whatever path they choose. I'd like to offer you one of those scholarships. No strings attached. You can continue working while you study, and we'll cover everything. Emma couldn't speak. She could only nod, the tears flowing freely now. Behind her, she heard the screen door creak open. Lily stepped out onto the porch, her eyes huge as she looked at the helicopter, then at the strange men, then at her mother. Mama? Why are you crying? Emma knelt down and pulled her daughter close. Happy tears, baby. These are happy tears, Richard smiled at them both. I should go. I have meetings all day. But Emma, thank you. You reminded me why I started my company in the first place, to help people. Sometimes we forget that in the boardrooms and balance sheets. He turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and that coffee? Best I ever had. Emma watched as Richard and his assistant walked back to the helicopter. The blades began to spin, slowly at first, then faster. The machine lifted off the ground, rising into the clear morning sky. She and Lily stood on the porch, watching until it disappeared into a small dot on the horizon. Mama, Lily said, tugging on her hand. Was that real? Emma looked down at the envelope in her hand, then at her daughter's upturned face. She thought about all the nights she'd lain awake worrying about money, about Lily's future, about whether she was enough. Yes, sweetheart, she whispered. It was real. That evening, after Lily was asleep, Emma sat at her kitchen table with the check in front of her. She thought about kindness, how it rippled outward in ways you couldn't predict, how it came back when you least expected it, how it changed things. She thought about Richard's words, people who give even when it costs them something. Emma had spent so long feeling like she was barely keeping her head above water, but maybe, just maybe, she'd been richer than she knew all along. Outside, the stars were coming out one by one, filling the sky with light, and for the first time in a long time, Emma felt something she hadn't felt in years. Hope